The most precious commodity in life that you have is your time, so your ability to manage it goes a long way in determining how profitable and successful you are in both your level of personal prosperity and professional strength. According to a survey from the Alternative Board, it found that 35% of entrepreneurs say that their poor time management skills is a direct link to their low productivity and profitability. Meanwhile, research from my friends over at Zippia revealed that 82% of individuals lack effective systems in order to manage their time, leading to 51% of their workday being allocated to less valuable activities. Businesses and organizations across the United States, according to Zippia, face losses of more than $588 billion due to distractions in the workplace. This, my friends, is nothing new for my friend Cindy Baker. She helps overworked and overwhelmed entrepreneurs implement systems and processes to better manage their time. She's a productivity coach who also works with individuals and entrepreneurs with ADHD to maximize their potential and scale their results. It's Baker's belief that in business, if you don't know how to manage your time, you won't know how to grow your business effectively. She's the founder of Cindy Baker Coaching, a coaching and education company focused on helping entrepreneurs feel less stressed and overwhelmed so that they can maximize their results. With a master's degree in counseling and over 19 years of experience as an educator, Cindy's mission is to share the success secrets that she's learned as an entrepreneur who also lives with ADHD. Baker says that she was diagnosed later in life, and it's her mission to demonstrate to others that it's never too late to find a passion and a purpose in life. And Baker joined me this week to tell me more. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. Cindy, if you're ready, I'll take a moment to welcome you to the program. And I'm super excited to learn how you help entrepreneurs overcome overwhelm, my friend. Great to see you, and thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Now, Cindy, I know that your professional work focuses on helping entrepreneurs who are busy overcome overwhelm and manage their time better, my friend. So I'm wondering if you could tell me about your work and what makes it so fabulous, my friend.
Yeah, well, thanks for that. Yeah, I do help entrepreneurs who struggle with distraction and they want to grow their business, but they feel like they're not as organized as they'd like to be. So I help them manage their energy and their focus and their time so they can grow their business. So I have a group coaching program. I do workshops, online courses. I'm a speaker. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs that have ADHD. So I help with that as well. So lots of things.
It sounds like you're a busy woman, my friend, and I know that you grew up with undiagnosed ADHD, my friend, and you've worked hard to compensate for the symptoms that go along with that, and you've also been in sort of the realm where you have to overcome procrastination and forgetfulness, my friend. So I'm wondering if you can talk about your own personal connection to why helping the people that you do is so important to you.
Yeah. So my background is I was an educator and a school counselor, and I worked with a lot of students that had ADHD and their parents. And I started to recognize those symptoms in myself. And I thought, I wonder if I have this, and I went and got diagnosed as an adult. And so I began to try to figure out everything I could about how to deal with adult ADHD, and tried some things that worked, some things that didn't, and finally put together a framework and became very successful and started helping other people with that as well.
Absolutely. And Cindy, what do you think is the key to effective time management as an entrepreneur?
There's not just one key, but it's more of small habits and small changes, creating structures and routines. One overall philosophy would be to not wait for motivation before you take action, because that's not a good strategy. You have to act before you feel like it. And so I help people figure out how to get started on a task. Sometimes that's the hardest part. But there are a lot of pieces to time management. It's one of the biggest parts of my coaching program. We talk about being overcommitted in your schedule, running late, procrastinating, all of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. And, selfishly, Cindy, I want to ask you this question because, I have a staff of people who work with me. And, one of my sort of default, Cindy, is I have a hard time saying no when I'm asked to do something, but when you only have so much limited time in a day, it's important to value your own time and really know how to prioritize, my friend, isn't it? So I'm curious to ask you, how do you think entrepreneurs can really prioritize their time and really know the importance of the time commitment when they agree to do things, my friend? So I guess what I'm asking is, how do you prioritize as an entrepreneur when it comes to time? And what's a graceful way to say no when your schedule is too busy, my friend?
Yeah, well, that's really two questions. So I'll answer them one at a time. How do you prioritize? Well, as an entrepreneur, the majority of the actions that you take need to be revenue producing activities. So, for instance, if you're spending 2 hours trying to get the perfect font and color on Canva on a design, that's probably not a good use of your time. But if you're, putting together the content for a webinar or something like that, that is going to move you closer to your goal. So one of the things, the criteria that you need to use is this moving the needle in my business? Or is this something that I could delegate or outsource or automate or even take off my list? I teach my clients to use the Eisenhower matrix, which is just a way to prioritize tasks according to urgency and importance. But then the other question is about saying yes to too many things. That's common for entrepreneurs, but also ADHD people, because a lot of us are people pleasers. We try to compensate for maybe some of the mistakes that we've made because of our ADHD. Some of us are really impulsive, so we just knee jerk say yes without thinking about the consequences. And then some people just don't want to miss out. They just want to do everything, But I would say, if you say yes to everything, you're really saying no to yourself, because you can't be healthy if you're spread too thin. So I teach my clients to learn how to qualify their yes. So instead of just blurting out yes without thinking about it, always say, I need some time to think about it. And that kind of buys you some time. So you just say, yes, but I need to finish my current task first, or yes, if my calendar it can clear, or yes, you qualify it with something so that you're not just agreeing without thinking about, do I really have time to do this? And that buys you a little bit of time. And a lot of times you end up realizing that you don't need to say yes to that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing that I have started to do, Cindy, is I told my staff, if it isn't in my schedule, I don't agree to do it, because there's only so many directions you can spread yourself, right?
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cindy, I'm also curious to ask you about, you tell your clients that it's hard to grow your business if you don't know how to manage your time effectively, my friend. I know that we've sort of touched the surface about that, but tell me, why do you think it's important for business owners and entrepreneurs to really know how to manage their time effectively?
Yeah, well, I mean, we all just have 24 hours in a day. And, if we spend time on distractions as opposed to things that are going to move us closer to our goal, then it's just going to take us longer to get to that goal. And so, if you're a business owner, money loves speed. You take too long to do something, and then the opportunity passes you by. So I tell people, if you can't manage your time, then you're always going to feel like you're behind. You're always going to have that sense of overwhelm, and you're not going to be able to accomplish the things that you want to.
Yeah, and I'm also curious to get your thoughts here, Cindy. Research from our friends over at Zippia indicated last year that 82% of individuals or entrepreneurs lack effective systems that manage their time, and 51% of our workday is spent on less valuable activities, my friend. So I'm curious what comes to mind when you hear those numbers, and what do you think people need to know about putting themselves first as an entrepreneur, my friend?
Yeah, well, if you think of your life or your day like a jar, and you've got your tasks would be your rocks and pebbles and sand. And if you put the sand in first, which is like the email, admin tasks, all the busy work, then you really don't have room for the big rocks, which are the most important things. So it's better to put the big rocks in first and let the sand and the pebbles fill it up around it. And the big rocks would be taking care of yourself, your priorities. You have to manage your day according to your value system. So, for instance, if you say you value physical health and fitness, but you never have in your schedule any time for exercise, then you're not really living congruent with your values. Or if you say your spiritual life is important, but you never have anything in your schedule that supports that, then you're always going to feel out of sync. So you have to put the big things in that are important to you in your personal life and your business, and then schedule everything else around that,
Yeah, absolutely. And Cindy, I also wanted to get your perspective on the importance of delegation because, our friends at Forbes, they did a study last year that found that 82% of business people who knew how to delegate doubled their revenue generation, my friend, compared to 66% of non-expert delegators, my friend. And the average revenue growth for expert delegators was 143% compared to non-expert delegators, my friend. So tell me about the importance of delegation and how important that is for entrepreneurs to learn that as a skill, my friend. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think it is important. So if you were to write down on a piece of paper everything that you do for your business, um, some of those things only you can do. For instance, setting the strategy for your business. It's your business, so that has to be you. Maybe working with your clients in a certain way. Maybe that's only you can do that, or um, there's a bunch of things that could only be you. But then there are other things that other people could do. And so you have to write it all down and figure out which one of these things could someone else do better and maybe enjoy doing more. And then look at how you might be able to delegate some of that. A lot of that busy work that I said was like sand, those could be delegated, you know. And some of it could be automated as well. And that's where you mentioned systems earlier. For instance, today I was on a call with someone who is helping me set up some email automations so that I'm not having to manually go in and send an email every time somebody does a certain thing. It's just going to be triggered and it's sent out. And that way all my bases are covered, but I don't have to think about it all the time, so that clears up some mental bandwidth in my brain.
There's only so much we can store up there, and if we can sort of take the load off, so to speak, it's certainly beneficial, my friend. And I'm curious to get your opinion on how entrepreneurs, when you work with them, why are they telling you they're feeling overwhelmed? And in terms of managing stress, I'm curious to get your thoughts on how to do that successfully as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and overwhelm can be caused by a lot of different things, but sometimes it's a person will look at a big project, a big task, and they feel overwhelmed because they don't know where to start, or they need help, or they don't understand it. So I always tell people, when you have a big project, break it up into small, very small, manageable steps, and treat each one of those steps like a separate task. And so instead of saying, I need to write a book, then you would say, I need to come up with a book title. That's one thing, and that's not as overwhelming. And then you move on to the next thing. And so you have to kind of take a deep breath and push down that panic and then just step back and say, okay, I can do this first step. Now I'll deal with the rest of it after this step. And you just do that one small action that that assures success. And then you feel a little better because you had some success. And as you start plugging away at it step by step, it feels less overwhelming.
Yeah, and as you mentioned at the beginning, you're an ADHD specialist that helps people with their focus, my friend. And I'm curious about how you help people do that and what you've learned about yourself through the work that you do and how rewarding it is for you to help the people that you do. What would you say there, my friend?
Yeah, it is rewarding. I didn't get diagnosed with ADHD until I was an adult, and I really struggled a lot before that, and then I struggled after that trying to figure out how to deal with it. And it's fun to me to be able to prevent other people from having to go through all of that. There's no need for it. I've already done all the hard work. They don't have to go Google everything. And it's rewarding when I see that people really light up when they have hope, when they see that there's a different way to live. Then they start to get hope and they start to get excited about their future, and that's fun for me to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cindy, I was excited to talk to you, my friend, because I don't know how much research you did on me, but I was born with cerebral palsy, and I actually found out at the age of 9 that I wouldn't be able to walk without the assistance of a walker and a wheelchair for the duration of my life. And when I graduated college, I graduated with a journalism degree, and I wanted to be a sports reporter, but no one would hire me because of my disability. Now, I graduated college 15 years ago, and we certainly have made some advancements since then. But I'm also curious to ask you, how important do you think it is that employers and those who run organizations can embrace diversity, equity, and inclusion as a competitive advantage, my friend, by hiring folks with disabilities? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, well, every situation is different, but supervisors are missing out if they overlook someone because of what they think is a disability. Let's take ADHD, for instance. There are a lot of successful artists and entrepreneurs who actually attribute their success to having ADHD. Like Sir Richard Branson is a billionaire, and he's been interviewed many times and saying that he gets that creativity from his ADHD. And so if a supervisor overlooks someone because they just assume that they can't do things because they're not like them, then they might be missing out on a really stellar employee.
Yeah, and I'm also curious to ask you about why do you think entrepreneurship would be a great avenue for someone with disabilities to experience prosperity? What are your thoughts there?
Well, I think it depends on the person and depends on the disability, but anyone who learns what to do in business and then takes the actions, that's a great avenue for them to make money. Now, entrepreneurship is difficult. It is not easy. There are a lot probably easier ways to make money, but some of the benefits are that you can set your schedule the way you want to. You get to pick how you help people and who you work with, and so you have some more choices there that you might not have in a regular 9 to 5.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cindy, as you mentioned, you have a master's degree in counseling and over 19 years of experience as an educator, my friend. And I know that you're on a mission to share success secrets that you've discovered on your own journey of having ADHD as an entrepreneur, my friend. So tell me how your mission is going and how you aim to inspire others to reach for the full heights of their own potential. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, well, I was diagnosed late in life, as I said, and I went from chaos and overwhelm and instability in my life to having not just one master's degree, but two, and having a long-term successful career as an educator and a counselor, married the love of my life. I'm a grandmother, and I started and I'm running a successful business, and I started it while I was teaching full time, all with ADHD. And I say that not to brag, but just to encourage your listeners that they can do this too. It all has to do with learning ADHD friendly strategies and learning how to work with the way your brain is wired instead of trying to be somebody that you're not and wishing that you didn't have it, and trying to do things other people's way. Once you understand how to work with your unique brain wiring, you can really have a competitive edge.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I'm also curious to ask you about what do you think is the key to gaining clarity and focus in business? What are your thoughts there?
Um, well, one of the reasons that entrepreneurs are not successful is a lack of clarity. And so you have to really understand who your ideal client is, your ideal prospect, and what their needs are, what keeps them up at night that they're worried about. And then you have to be able to offer something that solves that problem. And then you have to learn sales and marketing and all of that. But if you get distracted from that basic focus, then you're going to be what I call chasing shiny objects. So it's better to just focus on one thing at a time and really do that well, and then you can branch out to other things. You have to kind of know what your why is as well. Why are you doing this? Just wanting to make money is probably not going to sustain you as an entrepreneur, because it's a difficult career path. And so there has to be kind of a greater why. Like, I really want to make a difference. I'm getting older. I want to leave a legacy. I want to feel like I didn't just, have a job, but that I actually made people's lives better.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cindy, I'm also curious to ask you about what do you think it means to take ownership of your own prosperity in life? And what I mean by that is so many people wait for the ideal time to sort of take advantage of their opportunity to be a difference maker, my friend. So what do you think it means to embrace your own prosperity, both in life and in business? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, so I guess it's a difference between waiting for some outside force to happen to you, or initiating the action yourself and making it happen. So you can either wait around for the perfect opportunity, or you can just go ahead and create the perfect opportunity and get started. And I think so many people wait, and that's what I did before I understood that I had ADHD. I'm writing a book right now. I've been wanting to write a book for about 20 years. So why did I wait till just now? And it's because I think so many people put things off, and they think they've got plenty of time, and then they regret not getting started sooner. And so you have to, like you said, take ownership. No one else is going to do things for you. We have to be adults.
Absolutely, my friend. And how do you think practical life experience can help people be better entrepreneurs? Because, a lot of people start businesses because they want to solve problems, or it's based on their own practical life experience. So how do you think lived experience can make people better entrepreneurs?
Yeah, well, an entrepreneur brings themselves into their business. And so business is about people. And your life experience teaches you how to deal with people, how to be your own best self, but also how to treat other people. And so life experience has a lot to do with success in entrepreneur. You can't just learn numbers because there are people involved, especially in a service-based business like mine. There are a lot of people out on the internet that end up being not trustworthy, and so people want to find someone they can relate to personally, not a bot, and so when you show genuine empathy, genuine caring, and they get to know you authentically, then they begin to know, like, and trust you, and then they will buy from you.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Cindy, I know that you're a person that is fueled by coffee. You're also a wife and a grandmother, as you mentioned, and you're also a dog mom, my friend. And I know that you sing in your church choir and enjoy being outdoors, my friend. So tell me about your life outside of the office, my friend, and how do you feel your personal cup of fulfillment, my friend? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, so I do sing in the choir at my church, and it's a pretty big choir, and I've done that for years. Enjoy that. My husband and I are very involved in our church. I'm a person of faith, have a personal relationship with Christ, and that kind of is my compass, my center for everything that I do. Definitely got a long way to grow in that area, but that's the big part. I love my fur babies. One of them just turned 16, so that's very old for a dog. And I've always been pretty active. So I go to an exercise class, I swim laps. My husband and I used to be runners, but both of us need to lose a little weight right now. And so we've pulled back on that some, but we like to travel and, just going out to eat and friends and all that kind of stuff. Professionally, I'm in a training program, kind of a business coaching program for people who are speakers. So I've been entering speaking contests, and I won first place in one of the last one that I did. So really trying to branch out more into speaking. So
Yeah, absolutely. So, my friend, maybe because I'll share just a little bit about myself. So, Cindy, I'm a big believer in the power of self-reflection, and the reason I say that is my birthday was last week, and whenever you take another trip around the sun, you're grateful for what life has brought to you to this point. So I'm curious, from both a personal and professional standpoint, how do you value the importance of self-reflection, my friend?
yeah, if you don't think about the past, then you really can't plan for the future. And so, in fact, yesterday I just met with my coaching group that I lead, and we looked back on this past year, 2024, and I asked them a series of questions, and they wrote down their answers, highlights from the year, lessons that they learned, but also challenges that they came across, things that they wish they would have done differently, and things that they want to let go of for this coming year. And so reflecting on last year really helps us to know what areas we need to grow in this coming year. But it also helps us have gratitude, because we look back at the good things too. And then we are really grateful for the things that, that were highlights of the year. I write in a journal, and I think that's helpful just to get things, out of my head and kind of process them on paper. And I, for years, have done a gratitude journal where I write down things I'm thankful for. And that's really helped. And I try to be creative and think of different things every time, Um, I'm grateful for health insurance. I mean, just some random thing, I'm grateful for this tree outside my window because I really enjoy looking at the birds, just try to think of things that are not, like, don't focus on your challenges all the time, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So reflecting, as I look back on my growth as a business owner, it helps to be reflective where I can look back and say, okay, how have I changed? How have I grown? And how has that affected my business? And where do I need to go from here? So you can't just blindly walk into the day. You gotta have a plan. You gotta think about things.
I have to tell you, having a disability myself, Cindy, I'm also thankful for health insurance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And Cindy, I'm curious to end our conversation this way, my friend. If I told you, Cindy, I was going to throw you a lifetime achievement party, and I wanted your best friends or the people who knew you best, whether they be family or friends, to give a toast at the beginning of the party, my friend. How do you think they would describe you? What would you want them to say about your life and your legacy, my friend? What are your thoughts there?
Wow, that's a deep question. um, I think I would want people to think of me as someone who loves the Lord and loves people. I mean, other side things is that I can be funny sometimes, and um, uh, kind of the one who's always cracking jokes and cutting up and all of that. But as far as if I were just to pick the main thing, I would hope that they would see me as an example of somebody who loves the Lord and loves people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's certainly a mission to be proud of and to aspire to, my friend. I have to tell you, as I finally ask you how people can get in contact with you, my friend, but before I do that, I want to personally thank you, my friend, because you're joining me today as we get a milestone for the show with our conversation, my friend. You get the distinction of being my 1,000th podcast for the endeavor.
Wow.
And I started it about 5 years ago. So I want to thank you for helping me cross the milestone, my friend. It's most appreciated.
Well, thank you for having me. Congratulations on that milestone. That's awesome.
Well, I appreciate that, my friend. And tell me, my friend, if people want to get connected with you, what's the best way they can do that?
Yeah, I'll send you all the links that you can put in your show notes, but I'm on social media as CBC, Cindy Baker Coaching, or Cindy Baker. They can email me at cindy@cindybakercoaching.com. My website has a contact form at cindybakercoaching.com. And for your listeners, I'll give a free course out on how to beat procrastination. So I'll give you that link and people can opt in for that.
Absolutely. Well, my friend, as I mentioned before, I think you're doing outstanding work helping entrepreneurs maximize their potential. And I want to thank you for engaging in conversation with this monumental episode for the show, my friend. It's most appreciated.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.